and the Kansas City Chiefs for a couple of reasons. Number one, the battle with the number ones. Both of them number one of the conference. You got the Eagles number one in the NFC. You got the Chiefs number one in the AFC. For the Chiefs side, man, I'm just trying to see that if my Ravens was to win tonight, fingers crossed. Make sure y'all go pay attention to. Make sure y'all go tune in to ATB at the bank at 7:00 Eastern Standard Time. Can't wait. My Ravens win tonight. Does my Ravens get the number one seed, or do we still play back into that number 2 seed until Kansas City lose another game, or whoever goes to get to their fourth loss first? Is that going to be the reason? Can Kansas City coming off a bye week look better than they previously looked? Because that last before they went on the bye week, man, didn't look too hot, didn't look too good at all. You know what I mean? And it's like now, are we going to see? Which KC team are we going to look? Are we going to get that same KC team that caught fire in the playoffs last year at the tail end of the season? Or we're going to catch that KC that just laid an egg a couple weeks ago? You know what I mean? Or for the Philly side, can Philly still have that passing attack going? Because we already know that A.J. Brown is lighting between him and Tyreek Hill, man. They are lighting their wide receiver position up. Jalen Hurts is starting to show that why he's the second best quarterback in the league, maybe. So, all these things are, like I say, playoff implications. Which team is going to catch what? Do you feel me? So, it's just a teams that both of these is going to mean something. And it's most definitely going to line up on a Monday night, too. Woo! That's going to be a good game. Primetime game. Which team can live up to the hype? Another team that I want a game I want us to pay attention to is the Buccaneers and the 49ers. Because like I told you, the Buccaneers are in the playoff hunt. They're in that 8th seed right now. And if they sit at that 8th seed and they wind up beating the 49ers, woof. Do they bump up to the 7th seed? Can Baker Mayfield help this team become a playoff team? You know what I mean? Can the 49ers, are the 49ers back? After what they did last week, man, everybody's starting to question the 49ers back. In my opinion, I felt like the 49ers never went away. They just had to try to regain. They had to retool, get healthy, and then come up with a better game plan. But can the Buccaneers stop that 49ers defense, though? With the addition of Chase Young, with Bosa on the other side. With Greenlaw, with Fred Warner. That defense really looking scary again. And then can Brock Purdy still become that quarterback that's still trying to become that guy who we all feel like that Brock Purdy can be an elite quarterback? It's going to take some time. Can he get this team deep into the playoff run? Can he stay healthy? So it's just like a lot of questions going around that game. Another game that I felt like it's a big game also, the Raiders and the Dolphins. Now, I understand people like the Raiders and the Dolphins. Yeah, I said that because right now the Raiders are fighting for their playoff seed. They're fighting for their playoff life again. Right now, like I said, they're in the 11th seed, and then you got the Dolphins who's in the 4th seed. We gotta pay attention. This is November now. Do the Dolphins get cold like they did last year? Or do they find a way to help Tua stay healthy, number one? Stay warm, number 2. You know what I mean? So it's just because we already know that the Dolphins can go cold around this time of the year. For the Raiders, how are the Raiders going to respond after winning last week? With the interim head coach Antonio Pierce, man, who I felt like is doing a good job so far. Doing way better job than Josh McDaniels because these guys are starting to follow his movement. They believe the words that's coming out of his mouth. So can the Raiders, move up into that playoff race ladder? You know what I mean? And then, like I said, for the Dolphins, man, can they stay hot? And like I said, they always go cold from time to time. So it's just a lot of these things. These are playoff implication games right here. And then, of course, like I said, check out ATB at 7:00. The Ravens and the Bengals. That's another goddamn division game for the Ravens. Can the Ravens bounce back after a loss last week? Can the Bengals bounce back after a loss last week? Who's going to lead this AFC? Can the Ravens continue to lead the AFC North? Can the Bengals catch up to the Ravens in the AFC North? You know what I mean? It's just a lot of good playoff implications. The Steelers and the Browns. Deshaun Watson shut down for the rest of the season now. So can the Browns keep their playoff hopes alive with that stingy defense that they have? Or can Pittsburgh and Kenny Pickett finally wake up in the offense? Matt Canada can run a good offense. You know what I mean? It's a lot of implications on what can be done and what's going to be done